Is this the right time for Canada to be sending soldiers to Greenland?
Absolutely. It's a commitment that we made in the past. Canada is a member of NATO, a proud member of NATO, and the Prime Minister and the official opposition leader, Pierre Poilievre, there's a Canadian consensus that we believe in NATO, we believe in keeping our commitments, and that what President Trump is threatening to do on either the tariff side or on purchasing side, or trying to leverage and threaten people's jobs in other countries by imposing tariffs so that he can illegally annex Greenland, is utterly irresponsible and a threat to NATO and a threat to global security. So, yeah, that's my long way of saying it's the absolutely appropriate thing for Canada to do.
Canada is preparing to take a step it has not taken in an entire generation. Mark Carney is now seriously considering the deployment of Canadian forces to Greenland, not as a symbolic gesture but as part of NATO sovereignty and infrastructure defense exercises. This is not routine activity. Exercises of this kind are designed precisely for moments like the present, when territorial pressure is no longer hypothetical and deterrence must be made tangible. By moving Canadian forces closer to the Greenland region, Carney is sending a signal even before any formal announcement is made. Canada is watching. Canada is ready. Canada is prepared. Only when this context is properly understood does Carney's earlier warning in Qatar fully reveal its meaning. At a press conference in Doha, Carney spoke plainly about his deep dissatisfaction with the direction in which Donald Trump is pushing global affairs. He described threats of tariffs and territorial pressure as escalation, not negotiation. He categorically rejected the argument that economic coercion can be used to justify challenges to sovereignty. This was not a statement made for appearances, but one grounded in action. Because now, with the possibility of Canadian forces being deployed to Greenland under active consideration, Carney's message has shifted from words to deterrence. This is a clear warning, not a threat, not a provocation, but the drawing of a line. It is a message to Donald Trump that any misstep, whether economic or territorial, will no longer be met with silence, hesitation, or division. Instead, allies will stand together, and Canada is prepared to take the lead. This moment is larger than Greenland alone. If a NATO member openly threatens to seize territory without facing a unified response, the foundation of the alliance begins to fracture. Such a fracture benefits only one actor: Russia. A weakened NATO posture in the Arctic would inevitably undermine deterrence capacity in Europe. That, in turn, destabilizes the entire defensive framework supporting Ukraine. It opens the door for revisionist powers to test limits elsewhere. For this reason, the potential deployment of Canadian forces is not merely symbolic, but a substantive stabilizing measure. Mark Carney has emerged as one of the few Western leaders willing to confront Donald Trump directly, not with emotion or theatrics, but through institutions. He has labeled tariff threats as escalation, affirmed that sovereignty is non-negotiable, and openly supported the positions of Denmark and Greenland. This is not anti-Americanism, it is opposition to disorder, and that is precisely why Carney is being taken increasingly seriously on the international stage. The World Economic Forum has extended a special invitation to Carney not because Canada is being loud, but because its position is coherent. At a time when global leadership is fragmenting, Carney offers consistency. Rules matter, borders matter, alliances matter, and that message will resonate in Davos at the very moment Donald Trump is also expected to appear there.
There's an opportunity right in front of world leaders who are attending the World Economic Forum in Davos this week. Is there an opportunity for sidebar talks to occur where a solution could be reached?
Well, I mean, there is broad and deep unpopularity around President Trump's approach to foreign policy, and specifically about Greenland. You've seen the public opinion data that is out there that shows north of 70, 80% of Americans do not agree with this. 2 out of 3 Republicans do not agree with this kind of belligerence towards Greenland, and that this is a misadventure that risks America's reputation in the world and the security framework that has served America for a very long time. I think the best thing for the world to do is to stand shoulder to shoulder and show clear strength and defiance against this kind of irresponsible rhetoric and perhaps actions by President Trump, such that the sort of crumbs of courage that might exist still in what's left of the Republican Party might find a little bit of spine and backbone in order to assert themselves, to tell President Trump to back away and to not do this.
This year, the World Economic Forum in Davos is not centered on grand speeches or symbolic displays. The real focus is restraint. Donald Trump's threats toward Greenland, his use of tariffs as a political weapon, and his willingness to challenge sovereignty have placed many global leaders on alert. No one can any longer assume that the international order will stabilize on its own. Silence no longer equals neutrality. And that is precisely why Mark Carney's presence in Davos carries particular significance. He is not there simply to observe. He is there to connect and to coordinate. Behind closed doors, Carney is working to rally allies around a short, clear message. Trump's escalation will not be rewarded. European leaders need reassurance that NATO cohesion still holds. Smaller countries need to know they will not be left on their own. Markets need confidence that chaos will not become the guiding principle of global policy. And then there is a stark contrast. Donald Trump is also expected to appear in Davos. Two visions of the world order, present in the same place at the same time. One built on pressure and threats, the other built on coordination and collective deterrence. Carney's role is to prevent division from spreading, because if leaders leave Davos fragmented, tensions will inevitably intensify. If they leave united, that process slows. That is why Davos this year is no longer just an annual conference. It has become a place where solutions are being assembled, and only now do Carney's earlier trips fully reveal their meaning. His visits to China and Qatar were not isolated diplomatic gestures, they were calculated preparations. By expanding trade ties with China, Canada reduced its exposure to U.S. economic pressure. By securing major strategic investment commitments from Qatar, Canada strengthened the resilience of its economy. This matters because confronting Trump is never cost-free. It always comes with a price, and Carney has worked to ensure that Canada is capable of bearing that cost. Many leaders talk about standing up to Trump. Carney creates the conditions to actually do it. Diversifying trade, reinforcing alliances, preparing military options, then